every brother that's caught in the crossfire. That's caught in the crossfire.
Привет, я Ганс. Сегодня я буду дальше проходить игру Kona. Приятного просмотра.
There, Carl had fed his mind, but had forgotten the harsh reality that his body also needed nourishment, especially in the dead of winter. The Polaroid, Carl's long-standing and faithful ally, had seen its share of husbands caught red-handed cheating. There's always something out there waiting to be snapped away. That truck had obviously seen its share of gravel roads. Carl wasn't a mechanic, but he could easily tell that only the most heartfelt prayer would bring this old beater back from its slumber. With that cold, however, it was more likely that it would wait until next spring to wake up. With a homemade shooting range such as this, it wasn't hard to imagine a stray bullet ending its course inside the flesh of an unsuspecting passerby. Granted, Carl thought, there wasn't much in the way of passersby around here. The place looked more like a pigsty than a house. A heavy stench of curdled milk, cheap alcohol, and boiled cauliflower filled the air. The rag reeked of fermented vomit. Carl wondered how one could bear to live in such gross and horrid conditions. Rock music invaded the minds of men even in the remotest of places. The man didn't own a turntable, though, so there's that going for him. Carl felt that it was mission accomplished with the wicked nectar in his hands. Carl wondered how long he would have to endure this skin-stinging cold. Roswell, Atamipek, same story. Large deserts conducive to extravagant follies. Weird stuff. Kind of a crossing between a colander and a hairdryer. What was it for? To play telepath? To protect against nuclear waves? someone was expecting an important call. In any case, that person's in for a long wait. Carl already noticed that telephone services weren't provided in this area. By following the plan, Carl was led to believe that the snowmobile's parts had to be scattered about in the vicinity. The man seemed petrified in ice. What Carl saw terrified him, and he didn't know if it was the fear or the cold that was responsible for his hair standing on end all over his body. The poor man, before being frozen solid, seemed to be defending the entrance to his cabin. But from what? Something very important must have been in there for the man to take such time and effort to hide it, but Carl didn't know how to reach it. The very first steps of man on the moon were made more than a year ago. The event had surely captivated the mechanic's mind for him to still keep this around. Carl had no idea how to interpret a message like that. On the surface, it seemed like he had one half too many of this puzzle, enough to know he shouldn't take this testimony as gospel. The entire thing, being some punishment for a murder committed by Hamilton, seemed like an outlandish theory. Carl was doubtful. Good was a motorless car. The mechanic sure had an odd way to go about repairing things. Carl wondered how long he would have to endure this skin-stinging cold. Carl deducted this was a map of the area. Were those pins pointing to places of interest? The man has a passion for intergalactic things. Back then, people were obviously scared of the Russian atomic bomb, but an invasion by extraterrestrials was a legit fear as well. Seems like the mechanic had made his choice. If some daring person could manage to get their hands on the missing parts, Carl was willing to bet that the craft would have taken flight. The machine appeared to be missing something critical, something necessary for it to take off. The shape of this machine, almost straight out of Star Trek, was out of the ordinary to say the least. It felt like this thing could fly up into space at any moment.
Loves you.